What is going on, everybody? Welcome to night two, round two of the NBA Draft 2026. Thank you for joining me. I'm Eric Brandt on Rip City Retro. Uh, yeah, just very curious to see what happens tonight. I feel like there's a few good players left on the board that should go pretty early here in the second round. And then after that, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no sense of whether the Blazers will be looking to trade into the draft or if they're going to be just waiting to pounce on an undrafted player as a two-way contract. But yeah, excited to be back with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. And we're just kind of going through some pre-draft stuff right now. Apparently, the Knicks have traded the 31st pick to the Rockets for 31st and 55 for 39.53 in a future second. So they move back 8 spots, move up 2 spots later in the draft, and pick up a future second. I thought with the players on the board, I feel like that pick might have been a little bit more valuable than that, but I mean, I guess it's fine. It doesn't really matter that much. For the record, my thoughts are that Isaiah Evans and Malik Thomas should have been drafted yesterday. I think they're the best two players by far left on the board. Both project as plus shooters in the NBA, and I think if any team needs shooting, which is pretty much every team always needs more shooting, they should definitely look into drafting one of those two players. I don't think Portland would have enough to get up here. I mean, Isaiah Evans is like 6'5", so maybe he'd be fine, but I don't know if Portland should really go for it. They're both kind of guards, so as the roster stands right now, despite the need for shooting, I don't know if they should waste second round picks either. I do feel like I've been thinking about this a lot. So outside of Giannis, of course, there has not been a single future first traded, right? Am I missing something? But there hasn't been any player trades for a future first. There were picks traded for in this draft, but Aaron Wiggins went for a couple seconds, right? So I think teams are going to be hesitant to trade first round picks. So I would be a little cautious about trading like 2 or 3 future seconds to move into a weak draft like this in the second round. Because I have a feeling, for example, a player like PJ Washington, who might be available this offseason, or Daniel Gafford from that same team. I'm not saying the Blazers should necessarily go for these guys, but what's up, AJ? I don't know if they're going to get a first for those guys, or if a team's going to be willing to trade a first. So seconds might be the currency moving forward to get role players. And so I would just kind of hold on to some of my seconds and not really waste them getting into this draft. Now, if they do it and they have a good fit, there's a guy they really like, I'm not going to be mad at that. I just think if you can hold on to some of your seconds and trade 3 or 4 of them for a role player instead of someone in this draft, it might make sense. So that's just how I'm thinking about it. Like I said, it wouldn't be bad, or I wouldn't be angry, of course. I think that was like the one. I thought the draft was really fun last night, and just in terms of looking at it from other teams' point of views and stuff. But it would have been so much more fun to be talking about like something other than the coach Blazer related yesterday. So It would just be fun today just to have a pick at some point. So, or at least an undrafted free agency signing that we can talk about. So yeah, we'll get into that later. But before the draft starts, I just have to say this discourse on Twitter is really, I don't know, it's crazy, man. I don't understand. And we have factual evidence of what Tom Dundon is trying to do with the coach working and winning a championship. And you have all these people saying it's not relevant. And a lot of people are just assuming that the like Dundon's just going to always just want to get the cheapest coach or whatever. What they're failing to realize is he's trying to make it so he has a cheap coach until they prove that they're worthy of being paid a huge guaranteed amount. And then it remains to be seen whether Dundon will pay that amount. But if Mike Nora does a good job, I don't think Dundon's just going to be like, okay, see you later, your 3 years are up, I'm going to go find the next cheap coach. I think he's going to pay him what he's worth because he proved that he's worth it. But all these people seem to think that, oh, this is just going to be how he is. He's just going to sign 1 year coaches, and every year he's going to have a different coach. Whoever is the cheapest coach is going to take this deal. And that's just not what happened with Carolina. So it is absolutely relevant when he did hire a cheap coach, made him prove it. He proved it. He took care of him, and they won a championship. I'm not saying that's going to work that way in Portland. I mean, we don't even know if Mike is going to be a good coach yet or not. But, like, I'm kind of looking at it like it's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But so many things online, especially with Blazer Media, who have been they have never criticized the organization or the team. Like, not ever. And now all of a sudden, it's like the worst ownership of all time, and they can do nothing right. And Tom Dundon is the cheapest guy ever. So I don't know, man. It's just like it's not the end of the world. And once again, I'm not trying to defend Dundon. It doesn't save us any money because he's cheap with his coach. It doesn't help us win necessarily. But if he has a process that he thinks works, I'm going to be patient and let him try that process. If it doesn't work out, we can criticize it. If it works out, it's hard to question him, because then it would have worked out in two different situations in two different sports, where he wanted to have a coach show what he can do, and if he's capable of leading the team to where he wants it to go, before giving him the guaranteed contract. So, I don't understand what's wrong with that. And it's just because it's not how everyone else does it. Well, who cares? Like, what everyone else is doing isn't working for the Blazers. So why not try something different? And I know coach don't have a salary cap, so you can pay them whatever they want. But we're not going to win more games next year because we paid Mike Nori $7 million a year, or Thiago Splitter $7 million a year, versus $4 million a year. Like, that won't matter once we get into things. And if Mike Nori does a great job, and then Tom Dundon is just like, no, screw you, I want a cheap coach, I'll absolutely kill him. I'll kill him for that, man. And he'll deserve to be killed. But if Nori does a good job and he gets offers from elsewhere, Dundon's like, no, we want you to stay. He, like, matches whatever other teams were willing to offer and takes care of him for being a good coach, then it's going to make everyone look so stupid for saying all this crap. And I get why the Coaches Association is scared about it and why they had to come out and make a statement today. They're worried that this is going to be a thing. But it all comes down to me is Micah signed the freaking contract. He signed the contract. It's not like he had a gun to his head and was forced to be like, oh, you have to take this lowball offer from Tom Dundon or else your dreams will never be realized ever. It's just, I don't get it, man. So like, obviously it's not ideal, but, and there are complications, which I talked about yesterday, as we get, Tatum walking to the podium. Let me turn this on here. People cheering him, of course.
Good evening, and welcome to the second round of the 2026 NBA Draft. Day 2 of the draft is once again being held here at Barclays Center, right here in my hometown of Brooklyn, New York. Last night, we watched 30 players join the NBA family, and today, we usher in another group of great players from around the world. Thank you to all the players here this evening who've come to see their dreams fulfilled. So let's get the second round started. The 31st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft belongs to the New York Knicks, who have 4 minutes to make their selection.
No, it doesn't. This pick was actually traded to Houston, I think, so it'll be Houston. Got my Darius Miles jersey on today. Nah. I told you yesterday I have some weird jerseys, but yeah. Yeah, so Houston trades into this pick. Yeah. Yeah, I tweeted about this earlier too. Poke Elias, what's up, man? He says, we need to change how the draft trade works. It's so dumb. Couldn't agree more, man. Adam Silver was on the Dan Patrick show saying he wants the league to be more like the NFL, where you can, from year to year, you can build a team and there's hope that you can contend each year if you make some good moves. And I'm just like thinking, dude, start with copying the NFL draft, where if they trade the freaking pick to another team, they come up there and say, hey, this pick has been traded to Houston. The 31st pick does not belong to New York. It now belongs to Houston. So Houston is on the clock and has 4 minutes. How is that difficult? It's the easiest thing ever. And then you just come up and say, the Houston Rockets at pick 31 select so-and-so. Like, how is that difficult, NBA? Like, why do you have to make things so confusing? It's so stupid. And then you make the guy, like, wear the stupid hat of the team he's not even going to. He already knows he's been traded. Like, why does he have to put on the hat? Like, why does Cedric Howard have to wear a freaking Blazer hat and you have to put up all the graphics like, oh, he was drafted by the Blazers, and then every, like, Wikipedia and basketball reference site has, oh, Portland drafted Cedric Howard as one of their draft picks. Like, no, they didn't. They traded that pick. They did not draft him. So stupid. I do not have a Kevin Knox jersey. I'm getting worked up already between the Blazer media and the way the draft works. The second round especially, man, like, these picks get traded like 8,000 times. Like, it would be so helpful if the NBA helped out the fans watching, because obviously if you're watching round 2 of the NBA draft, you're a bit of a sicko. So I don't know, man. Houston could go a number of different ways right here. I mean, like I said, anyone can use shooting, so I wouldn't be surprised if they took an Isaiah Evans or Malik Thomas here. There's Henry Vassar from North Carolina. I guess he's kind of Şengün-esque a little bit. If they're thinking about trading Şengün maybe to They're talking about if they're talking about trading Şengün for Jaylen Brown or something, maybe that makes sense. But maybe they go with a Jack Cale from Germany. I don't really think anyone else makes sense for them. Like, there's a lot of defensive minded players like Baba Miller, Dylan Mitchell, those types, but those aren't. They already have a men. They already have an okay enough defense, I think. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
With the 31st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Bruce Thornton from The Ohio State University.
Okay. All right. I mean, Bruce Thornton was definitely going to get drafted here in the second round. So yeah, I'm kind of confused why. I'm kind of confused why Houston thought they needed to trade up from 39 and give up a future asset to do that. I I I don't see a scenario where Thornton would have gone before 39. So, but hey, they got their guy. I guess when you want someone, just a little surprised that he was the first pick of the second round with a full day to for all these teams to. All right, so let's take a look. Thornton. I mean, he can score. Let's see what its combine measurements are. Yeah, 6 feet. 6 feet tall. Kind of a shorter, stockier guy. But he does have a 6'5" wingspan, so even though he's short, decent measurables other than that. I mean, he was really good on offense. Being undersized though, I mean he's kind of strong. I don't know if he's the greatest defensive player either. This is a fine pick, I guess, but yeah, it's I don't know. I'm kind of perplexed by why they why they did that. All right, second pick is in from Memphis. This should go a lot faster. I'm not drinking a bad apple. I'm drinking a sparkling ice caffeine cherry cola flavor. I've been trying to drink. I'm really bad. I love soda, so I'm trying to drink stuff that still kind of tastes like soda, but doesn't have sugar in it or a ton of sugar. So I was drinking like a prebiotic Pepsi yesterday and today, just trying to drink a little better. But I can't give up soda or caffeine completely because I don't really drink coffee. I don't like coffee, so I need caffeine. Yeah, they're not bad. Cherry cola is a pretty new flavor, but yeah. Yeah, like the blue raspberry isn't bad. I don't know how many of these picks. Usually the first few they'll announce live are already in a commercial. But as the draft goes on here in the second round, they the most famous one was Jokic getting drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, right? So we'll see how much they actually announce picks live. But we'll talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe they see a little Fred Van Vliet in Thornton. Um, but he's not anywhere near the defensive player Van Vliet is, so I kind of find that hard to believe. But yeah. How's everyone doing today, by the way? Hope everyone is good. Thanks for hanging out with me again on night 2. Yeah, I don't have any sense. I saw someone ask that earlier. Sorry, I forgot who it was. If I think the Blazers will trade into this draft, um, I don't have any sort of sense of whether they're trying to do that or not. Um, I said this yesterday, but I think there's about 10 to maybe 15 if you're stretching it, guys that should definitely go here in the early part of round 2. And then after that, it's like, I don't think there's much difference between taking someone in the latter part of the second round versus just waiting to see how it shakes out in the undrafted free agency market. So it'd be fun to talk about the Blazers making a trade today, but I don't. In the past, they've traded out of the second round several times under Cronin, including that one draft where they traded out of the second round like 3 times. So I'd be kind of surprised if they cared about trading into the second round. I'm sure they're just waiting for this draft to end here in a couple hours, and they're going to go up and find a guy that way.
With the 32nd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Richie Saunders from Brigham Young University. Richie Saunders.
All right. So Richie Saunders goes at 32. I haven't seen anything about this pick being traded. It's really hard to keep up with trades, but if anyone sees anything regarding trades, just go ahead and post those in chat. But like yesterday, please don't spoil who's being picked before it's actually announced. So there's two things here, okay? I like Richie Saunders. He is a very good shooter. He's one of those guys who I think is going to be like an AJ Green type. We've seen that a lot. Duncan Robinson. Guys that can just flat out shoot, right? And they have to be accounted for on defense at all times. And he can actually put the ball on the floor a little bit too. But he is 25 years old. And he did tear his ACL. That was a huge blow to BYU. I think that was about a month before the tournament started. And that really hurt BYU because it was, at the time, I mean, it was mostly because of his age, but he was not getting a lot of buzz in terms of NBA prospects, but he was having a really good year, and it just really stood out when I was watching Dimonsa, and I really like him as just a shooter to add to a bench. The thing is, though, if you're Memphis, much like the Caravan pick last night with the Kings, it's not a bad pick. It's just, I don't understand drafting the 25-year-old shooter that is basically limited and you know what it is, what they're going to be, versus someone like Malik Thomas, who shot 41% from 3 as a rookie, proved to be a really good shooter, and still has the potential to maybe turn into more as only playing 1 year versus being 25 years old. So for a younger team, like Memphis, I'm just a little surprised you wouldn't take a chance on Isaiah Evans or Malik Thomas in that position versus Richie Saunders. Um, but I mean, Richie Saunders is an NBA level shooter, so maybe that's all they're thinking is, trying to get their. They traded Luke Kennard a couple years ago. Maybe they're just trying to replace that shooting in the lineup. Coward and Jalen Wells have both shown some ability to shoot the ball, but their percentages have kind of been a little shaky. All right, Minnesota's up.
With the 33rd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Isaiah Evans from Duke University.
Isaiah Evans.
So this is actually going to Minnesota. Love this pick for them. Basically traded 28 and 28 and Julius Randle for Isaiah Evans. I mean, they're gonna have some cap stuff too, but man, no, percentage wise wasn't the greatest. Like, it doesn't really scream shooter. But he shot 36.1% this year on 7.4 attempts, 86% from the free throw line. I felt like his defense improved from this year to last year. And so yeah, I think this is a good pick for Minnesota. Get some shooting. DiVincenzo's probably out for the season, right? So, or at least most of it, if he's not used in a trade. But yeah, I really like this fit for them. Measured at 6'5.5". He plays kind of small, but had good measurables in terms of that. 6'8" and 3/4 wingspan. 8.5 standing reach. So, but yeah, I think it was just like a lot of tougher threes off the dribble, stuff like that. So, but he's primarily a shooter. He doesn't break down defenses a lot. I think that's maybe what caused him to fall a little bit. Yeah, so he's not really going to do much more than be a shooter. Although I always say this about like teams like Duke, it's really hard sometimes to know if it's really hard to know if some of these guys I was just waiting to see if Tatum was coming up. It's really hard to know if some of these guys have maybe a skill that they weren't able to use in college because they're on a stacked team every year. All right, Alex Wolf's Cavs coming to the podium. Let's see who they pick.
With the 34th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Malik Thomas from the University of Arkansas.
Another Arkansas play.
All right, Alex. If you are not stoked right now, you should be doing backflips wherever you're at. There you go. It was, in my opinion, that was worth the wait. You pick up an asset, move back a few spots, get him under a cheaper contract. Yeah. I don't think he should have been like a lottery pick or anything, but a freshman on a good team like that put up numbers with a lot of other good players around him. I didn't understand why he wasn't being talked about more. And I mean, he measured a little small, I guess. Let me find his page. He measured 6'3" without shoes, 6'6", and 3/4 wingspan. 8'4" standing reach. So he's definitely a 2-guard size, not big enough for a 3 in the NBA. But I mean, anytime a freshman shoots 41.6% from the field off 5.3 attempts per game at an over 84% clip from the free throw line, I mean, those are good freshman numbers that indicate he is a shooter. So I don't understand why that wasn't more valuable in this draft, especially with some of the players taken before him. And yeah, so I mean, I felt like he was better defensively than people thought he was going to be in college. I know he's not really a combo guard. You can't really play him at the point that much, but I mean, he's still young enough to improve that stuff, right? So just being a freshman, and a lot of that is, I mean, he was playing next to Acuff though, so like he didn't really need to have the ball in his hand a lot, much like I was just saying about Isaiah Evans. Like, who knows if that is asked for him more, but on the Cavaliers, you know, he can be a spot-up shooter, space the floor for Donovan Mitchell and James Harden if he's back. So I don't think I don't understand why that wasn't he wasn't a higher pick. I think this is a great fit for the Cavs. I think that's perfect for them, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's maybe a little bit of creation upside there that he could tap into that he just wasn't able to show this year as a freshman. You know, you're not always going to get that chance to do it. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know I don't know what I was missing with him in terms. Like I said, I don't think he should have been a lottery pick or anything, but I don't understand why he slipped. Like, what was the concern? Alex says his workout was phenomenal, apparently, so it wasn't that. I mean, maybe he didn't interview well or something, but it's kind of surprising. But congrats to Alex. I mean, I'd be super stoked if I was coming off an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. I know you got swept, but and then you added a shooter like this. Analytically, he's pretty good, right, Alex? For that analytical championship that you guys are trying to win. All right, so now Denver is on the clock after they traded back, right? Same thing with the Cavs. Feel like we went through this yesterday. Now, so there's been 3 shooters taken so far in Evans, Thomas, and Saunders. And then the other pick was Thornton. Oh, here we go.
As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Brooklyn Nets are trading to the Minnesota Timberwolves the draft rights to Isaiah Evans, the 33rd pick.
Why couldn't you just say that when you came up for the 30th?
With the 35th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Trevin Brazil from the University of Arkansas.
Trevin Brazil. Cole, I left. I don't think it's pronounced Trevin, isn't it Trevon? I don't know. I left Blazers Uprise due to. I mean, I'll eventually give you guys the whole story, but basically, I kind of felt like I was being taken advantage of, and decided to not put up with it after 7 years. So here I am, just doing my own thing, having fun with you guys. All right, so college announcer said it like your name too. Okay, yeah, I guess I just didn't notice. Um, so Brazil, it's funny. He's got like the physical, like the athleticism and the length to be a really good player. Can shoot a little bit from three, at least for a big man. I've never really been super impressed with this 3-point shot, but as a 6'10" guy, it's not bad. And then let's see what his actual measurements were. 6'9.5", 7'3", and 3/4 wingspan, 9'1" reach. So yeah, not bad. So this last season, he only shot 34% from three, but 35% in his 4 years at Arkansas. That's decent for a guy of his size, so not too bad. Oh no, no problem bringing it up. People are gonna constantly ask that every stream. It's gonna happen, so I don't blame you for that. It's just he doesn't do enough really outside of. I feel like he's another one of those guys who's kind of 59.5% from the free throw line. That kind of scares you a little bit. He's one of those guys that if he's in the right system and just a role player, I think he could be a really good NBA player. But he just like he can shoot some threes and he can catch lobs and then he blocks shots. And I mean, those are all things that help in the NBA, but I don't know if that's basically all he does, right? Like, he doesn't really do anything else. Like, he's an okay rebounder, but with that athleticism, he should be a little better. I feel like if he doesn't get a dunk, or a three, he doesn't really do it. He cannot dribble at all. He cannot dribble. So, yeah, you want him either catch and shoot or lob target. Anytime he put it on the floor, it's like, I know his turnover percentage probably isn't as high as it seems because, I mean, it takes into account times where he didn't necessarily dribble the ball. But he did have, I mean, he improved a little bit this year. Got it down to 9% turnover percentage. But yeah, he's not the type of guy who's going to have any sort of progress as a guy who can create or do anything off the dribble. And maybe Denver's a good fit for him because, with Jokic there, and, obviously they did have a guard like Jamal Murray, so maybe you don't have to ever handle the ball. Just cut to the basket and catch lobs and stuff. But, so yeah, I don't mind that fit for Denver. Just not a lot of upside other than those areas.
With the 36th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the LA Clippers select Baba Miller from Palma de Mallorca, Spain, and the University of Cincinnati.
All right, there goes Baba Miller to the Clippers. They didn't flash anything on there about this pick being traded. Baba Miller measured 6'10" and a half without shoes. Wingspan was a little disappointing, only 7'1" and 3/4, so it seemed like he is a little lengthier than that. 9'3" standing reach. So yeah, let's his 3-point. He never really developed much of a shot. That was always something. This is a guy who was like, when he came in as a freshman in, and it was Florida State, right? He was thought of as a potential like lottery type pick, sleeper. Obviously, ends up staying 4 years in college, and doesn't do that. But and then here it goes in the second round. But he shot 19% from 3 this year, so he's not really going to help you space the floor. 60%, or let's see, 65.8% from the free throw line. But 2 years ago at Florida Atlantic, he did shoot 34.2%. And you're thinking maybe he's going in the right direction, but then it fell off this year. So shooting is definitely the reason why he wasn't. But this guy can absolutely crash the glass. 10 over 10 rebounds a game. He can pass the ball. He can do a little bit off the dribble. If he could ever figure out shooting, like he could possibly have like all-star potential. But it seems like that will never happen. So like right now you have a defensive specialist that can guard any front court position. You have a excellent dominant rebounder who uses his size well in the glass, and you have someone who can then get out on the fast break and make a good pass. Now he's not going to score much for you, but I kind of like his archetype a little better than the Brazil archetype, where you can't do anything with the ball and isn't an okay rebounder, but doesn't use his size well enough to get rebounds. Miller's the opposite. He does so many little things well. It's just his shot is brutal. So I think this is a pretty good pick if you have scorers already. They picked Wagler and obviously got Garland last year for Harden. They still have Kawhi, who's not quite the defender he was, but eventually Kawhi won't be there. But that young backcourt, or youngish backcourt, definitely needs some defensive help, and I think Miller can provide that, and the backcourt can score enough to overcome some of his lack of shooting. But might be kind of brutal playing him and Derrick Jones Jr. or whatever in the same lineups, at least offensively. Defensively, those lineups could kill. Yeah. What's up, Starcadian? I'm doing great. How about yourself? Visar has not been taken yet. Still on the board. OKC is here at 37. And once again, if you guys see any trades with these picks, I mean, I'm assuming most of them are going to end up being traded, but it's kind of hard to analyze the fit if I don't know what team is going to end up with them. What's up, Brandon? He says, if we end up trading Scooter Sharp, I think we should go after Jaw. Thoughts? I don't want anything to do with Jaw, especially with Dame being back. Maybe if we didn't have Dame, I would think about it, but here we go.
With the 37th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Ryan Conwell from the University of Louisville.
All right. After taking Mara and they traded up for Bennett Sturts yesterday, they now get Ryan Conwell, assuming that's going there. Conwell he could be there. It's been widely assume they're going to end up trading Isaiah Joe this offseason. Conwell could be that shooting replacement. I know Sturts is that too. This guy puts up a ton of 3-pointers. He shot 9.6 3-pointers a game this year. It's insane. Not NBA, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of a younger college and maybe first year on Utah, Wesley Matthews. Yeah, so but this guy, he's kind of built like him, I guess. That's why kind of like a little stockier type. But this dude gets up the 3-point shots and is not afraid to shoot from anywhere on the court. Has really good range. Shot 83.2% from the free throw line. Now his 3-point percentage on those 9.6% or 9.6 attempts was down to 34.5 this year, but the previous 2 years, one with Xavier, he played on 4 different teams in 4 years. It's so weird. The NIL era is just like they're gonna have players like this that just rented guns every year, but he shot 40.7% on 7.1 attempts in at Indiana State 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago at Xavier, 41.3% on 7.1 attempts. Took a lot more difficult shots this year. He's also someone that has a little bit of defensive potential. That's why it kind of reminds me of Wes a little bit. But yeah, I like this pick. I don't know if it's for OKC or a different team, but they just continue to find different guys who can fit a role and can do something and contribute. And he's let's see what his size is. Little undersized, I guess. But like his so he's only 6'2" is the problem, but 6'7" wingspan. He's not really a point guard. 8'5" stand in reach. Not really a point guard, so he's pretty much just a shooter. But he does rebound pretty good for being small, so yeah, he's going to the Heat. Oh, if he's going, I like that a lot for the Heat then. I'm assuming you're talking about Conwell. Yeah, I thought there were some rumors that the Heat were trying to trade up to the beginning of this round. I was assuming it was for like Malik Thomas or Isaiah Evans, but Conwell's a really good fit there. I like that a lot, actually. They're gonna need some people who can keep the defense honest with Giannis and Bam in their front court now. And I think Conwell can definitely do that as a rookie. I think he can come in and Spoelstra can do a lot of stuff with him. So, yeah, these shooters are just going like crazy off the board, man. It's and we got one defensive only guy in Baba, and we're gonna have another whenever Dylan Mitchell guy goes off the board. That's gonna be another pretty much defensive only guy. But all these players in the second round are very flawed or just like okay. Here we go with the Bulls, 38th pick after getting Swain and Caleb Wilson yesterday.
We have another trade to announce. As part of a deal to be finalized later, the New York Knicks are trading to the Houston Rockets the draft rights to Bruce Thornton, the 31st pick. With the 38th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Braden Smith from Purdue University.
Braden Smith had
Yeah. Braden Smith. All right. I mean, he is he is small. 5'10" and a quarter, 6'3" wingspan, 7'9" and a half standing reach. I mean, he obviously played a lot, won a lot of games at Purdue there. He's one of those guys who, like I said, in a normal year, I don't think he gets drafted. Um, there's still some guys here that I probably take over him. Um, he can pass a little bit. Shot 36.2% from three this year. I mean, obviously, he can pass. He's all-time assist leader in the NBA or in the NCAA. I mean, he's okay. I don't know. I just um 38 to Pacers for Cam Jones. Chicago traded him. So he's going to the Pacers? I don't like him for the Pacers either. You got Halliburton coming back. I mean, you already got that like tough-minded backup guard in T.J. McConnell, unless you're trading him, or like maybe he's a free agent. I'm not sure, but no. What's up, Gray? He says, would any of you want to trade Klingon? So I saw the rumors that Boston's looking for a center in a trade. They would 100% want Klingon in a Portland trade. The problem is if you trade Klingon for Jaylen Brown, then you're the Celtics needing a center. You have no long-term center. You can't depend on Rob Will to play every game or heavy minutes, so you would need then to make another trade, and you probably used up a bunch of assets. I think it just, if we have to include Klingon, I'm probably saying no to a trade, and that's not necessarily saying that you can't move Klingon. He's untouchable. I don't know. I don't know who you get, and I don't think Gafford's good enough to trade Klingon. I think that unbalances the roster so much, and then like, what are you giving up then to get Gafford? I don't know if Gafford's like the right type of center that we need, but I mean, I guess that wouldn't be the worst replacement. Unless you have an idea. I mean, maybe. I mean, if you got Anthony Davis too, you basically have to trade Drew then, and then I don't like the trades as much if you're having to give up some win now players as well. So, Miles Turner. Man, I'm not a Miles Turner fan, but again, who are we trading to get Miles Turner? I mean, we'd have to give up like Scoot, Sharp, Grant, and Klingon to get all those guys. I don't think that's happening.
With the 39th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Jack Cahill from Berlin and Germany's Alba Berlin club.
All right, so the Knicks, so they ended up getting the rights to some guy who will never play in the NBA, Ajinka, yesterday. And then they have Keith Smith had this funny post about them having the most draft rights to players who will never play in the NBA ever. They have like 17 of them. And um, they're kind of managing their cap a little bit by taking these international guys with these late first, early second round picks that they've had in the recent years. Um, I don't think Gale's a bad pick here at this point of the draft. Um, he kind of reminds me of Killian Hayes a little bit. It's probably a bad comparison, but I mean, if Killian Hayes would have been a second round pick instead of a high first round pick, I think he's thought of a lot differently, right? Or maybe isn't like kind of a meme or whatever. But yeah, his stats aren't great, but he does. He had a really good stretch towards the end of the season, in the league he was playing in, and he showed a little bit of flashes of being that guy. Um, he did. He was originally. People thought he was going to go to Gonzaga, but I think some people were surprised he stayed in the draft. Um, yeah, shown some improvement. I think he could be a shooter if he continues to work on it. Showed a little bit of off the dribble stuff. Yeah, so at this point in the second round, I think that's fine to take a chance on someone like that. Like I said, New York might even just stash him for a while. Yeah. I asked you mid-season if Klingon would ever be a max player, and you said no. Now you won't trade him for a max player. Just because someone's not going to get a max contract doesn't mean that they aren't good or should be traded automatically for someone with a max contract. That doesn't make any sense.
With the 40th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select Dylan Mitchell from St. John's University.
All right, Dylan Mitchell goes off the board. So we often talk about guys who can't shoot, or if they ever fix their shot. This might be the all-time poster boy for if this guy could shoot prospect. If you already know the answer to this, he doesn't shoot threes very much. He only took 15 the entire season. But chat, if you do not know the answer to this question, please answer how many threes he made this season out of 15 attempts. Once again, if you know the answer, don't answer. But anyone have any guesses? Eight of 15. 0 is a good guess. 12 of 15. No, I said he's not a shooter, guys. 12 of 15 makes. Damani, you're very close. It was 1. He made 1 3-pointer this season. So let's see his measurables. So he's 6'6" and 3/4, 6'10" wingspan. 8 foot 8.5 standing reach. So really good size, super athletic. There are some things he does insanely well. Defense and rebounding being among them. He shot 87 free throws this year, 49.4% from the free throw line. It's like, dude, you would be a lottery pick if you would work on your freaking shot. Like, I I don't understand how someone this talented that was this high of a prospect coming out of high school and has had this much opportunities on really good teams. Started out on Texas, went to Cincinnati for a year, then was on St. John's this year. How this guy does not at some point fix his shot. And to me, he does things that are useful on a basketball court. So, crazy athletic. Like I said, really good rebounder. Is a lockdown defender. Those things alone are going to get him, a role potentially in the NBA. But, like, players like that, it seems to me like they're just physically gifted and never really think they have to be better than that, and they just get by on what they have. And can you fix it? Maybe. It's a little more. Aaron Gordon was a much better player, but I felt that way about him his whole time in Orlando. Like, he never really improved, and then he goes to the he goes to I lost my train of thought, but he goes to Denver and excels there, and now he's like pulling up from three off the dribble and stuff like that. Yeah. Whoa, Nuggets. All right, what's happening? Beef stew to the Grizzlies for 2 seconds. What about the Nuggets? Trade. Beef stew should have been a Blazer, man. Yeah, we just don't have like a contract in that range that would make sense for us trading him out. I'm assuming that maybe the Grizzlies have the ability to absorb his contract, so that was probably appealing. Three seconds. See, so I was saying this earlier at the beginning of the stream. I think that's why you don't necessarily trade a bunch of seconds to move into this draft right now. Is I think there's going to be players like this where you can get for second round picks, and so yeah. Obviously Edie's the center there in Memphis, but he's had a lot of trouble staying on the court in his first couple of years. So now you get a physical guy like Beef Stew, a good defensive player. It seemed like the Pistons were going to try to get off his contract to make a big move. Maybe they end up trading for Tyler Hero, like it was rumored initially in the Milwaukee trade. But it's a pretty good move for them to just get some help defensively in that front court. I think he'll really help Cam Boozer. I don't think Boozer... I like Boozer a lot better at power forward. I don't think he can play much center other than, in small ball lineups or whatever. But I like his fit then with Beef Stew a little better. So, they pretty much have to re-sign Duran. I know that he was abysmal in the playoffs, but yeah. Well, keep in mind Shaggy, so he says it probably means that they aren't going to get Hero. So what's been happening, GM's got a lot smarter and a lot more creative over the last few years, especially with this new CBA. You kind of have to be. But what happens now is these trades aren't usually official until the new league year, so you can find a way to wrap them all into one trade. And so you don't necessarily have to have it done right now. You can have 2 weeks almost, 12 days to kind of figure all that stuff out, and then worry about that later. But it also gives you a chance to like get other stuff done. If you don't, then you can always go back to making it work with the other trade. Do I think OKC might get rid of Chet? No, they're not. They're not getting rid of Chet. I mean, I know he had a disappointing Western Conference Finals, but they're not going to move on from Chet right now. All right, here comes Tatum, 42. Says Spurs pick is in, but who knows who's picking here.
With the 42nd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Jacoby Gillespie from the University of Tennessee.
All right, Jacoby Gillespie goes off the board. He's another one of those point guards who's just like, okay, he's fine. Might be an okay backup point guard in the NBA, but not really gonna wow you or anything. I don't think he's like ever gonna be a starter or anything. I mean, he can score a little bit. He didn't shoot the three well last year in Tennessee. Maybe it's just a down year. Maybe he can get back to how he was in previous years. He shot 40.7 from three the year before on Maryland. He only played on 3 different teams, so not quite. Who are we talking about earlier that played on 4 teams in 4 years? But decent defensive guard. I mean, more than a decent defensive guard. He was pretty good defensively. But yeah, I don't know. He's as a smaller point guard, not the greatest passer or anything. He can score a little bit, but another one of those undersized points guards. But unlike a lot of points guards, this guy plays defense, so I guess that's the intrigue. Maybe a little bit of. I think a couple years ago, Jamal Shed went to the Raptors. I think there's a lot of guards that are kind of like that architect. We'll talk about a couple more when they get drafted later. But him having some success as a backup guard, just coming in as change of pace, get after you defensively, maybe play full court defense, and just kind of wreak havoc on the other team's backup point guard. Yeah. So, once again, there's going to be so many of these picks that I say this about, but it's okay. Okay. Feel free to, if you guys have any different opinions than anything I say, to disagree with me in chat. I don't know if my stuff is glitching out or not. Seems to be running a little slow. All right, so apparently Brooklyn is on the clock now. Is Tatum coming up? Yep, here he comes.
With the 43rd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Tyler Bilodeau from UCLA.
All right, we got a beef going. Yeah, Uh, you know, I went to an Oregon State game a couple years ago when Isaiah Collier and Bronny James were in town. And I was kind of like, man, this guy kind of plays like an NBA player. Um, but hadn't really hadn't really seen any kind of draft buzz about him. And then he transferred to UCLA, really shot the ball well, um, and made himself kind of an NBA player. Um, he's forward size. He's not gonna really be a small ball big or anything, so that might hurt him a little bit. Um, but he can play both forward positions. Maybe not really great on defense at the forward positions, but real quick, let me give a shout to Hailblazers $3 donation. Says happy summer, bro. No opinions on this draft. Yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks for the donation. And then Bryce had a $5 donation earlier at the beginning of the stream. Sorry, I didn't read it, but I kind of talked about what you said. He says, why is the local media so toxic with the new owner? It's getting beyond ridiculous. Completely agree. I have no idea what's going on or why everyone's so bitter about it or why it affects them so much, but still not trying to defend Dundon. I'm still just trying to take a wait and see attitude. This new style might blow up in his face, but the Blazers haven't had a lot of success in recent years doing it the way everyone else does it, so why not see if someone else can mix things up a little bit and stir the pot and see if it can kind of I don't know, generate some sort of new ideas or new method of doing things that works out. If it doesn't work out, fine. But from Dundon's perspective, he did this exact same thing with his coach in Carolina in the NHL. And then when he proved that he was a good coach and worthy of being kept, he made sure that he was retained and got signed to a contract. So I don't get it, man. Yeah. So pretty cool to see not only someone that was a former Beaver, but just someone. It's cool. That's why I like going to games and stuff. Get to see potentially players in person, and then certain ones stand out. I was really impressed with Isaiah Collier in that game, even though he had a terrible game. Just it seemed like he saw the floor watching him better than I thought going into that game. So Tyler shot 87.3% from the free throw line, 46.4% from three, 52% from the field, averaged over 17 points per game. Doesn't really pass a lot. Like I said, defensive end isn't great, but that's what happens with a lot of these shooters, right? Isn't the greatest rebounder either. Should probably find a way to improve a little bit there, but man, he can shoot the ball, space the floor a little bit, and like we said, with so much of these players in this round, that's kind of what you look for. Henry Vassar has not been taken yet, and yeah, that's kind of surprising. I mean, maybe some of these teams aren't looking for a center like him, but yeah, I'm a bit surprised that he hasn't gone off the board yet. I think Tatum's coming back. Nope. They fooled me. They're showing the draft room of the San Antonio Spurs, but not the actual pick. So it did come out today that Quaintance is going to need another surgery. So he's going to be on the shelf probably the entire season. I thought that might sneakily be the case yesterday, as why they took him and Reed in the same draft. So it looks like Quayton's is going to have a bit of a redshirt season. I doubt he'll play at all. So he'll just be on the injured list. I mean, they might not even sign him to his contract for a year. I think there was someone that OKC did that with a few years ago.
We have another trade to announce. As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Chicago Bulls are trading to the Indiana Pacers the draft rights to Braden Smith, the 38th pick. With the 44th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Malik Brown from Duke University.
All right. So Malik Brown goes. Yeah. He's okay, right? Yeah. Mute that Bozo says, let's get that Kessler guy to Utah. The problem is, I mean, apparently is turning down just under like 30 million a year and wants like 35 to 37 a year or something. And he's a restricted free agent, so I don't know. Might be hard to get him. So another Dookie goes off the board. I don't know about this pick. He's one of those guys who I didn't think. I don't know. I don't know if I would have used a draft pick on him. Another can't shoot threes, guys. 16.7% from three. I mean, he didn't shoot them less than one attempt a game, but unless you're a big man now in today's NBA, if you don't shoot at all or you don't even have the threat to shoot, it's tough to do anything. I mean, he's okay defensively. Obviously, that's probably what got him drafted, but he's okay inside the arc shooting. 2-pointers, had a really good percentage on 2-pointers. But an older prospect that hasn't really shown many flashes of doing anything great.
Pick. With the 45th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings select Emmanuel Sharp from the University of Houston.
All right. So Emmanuel Sharp goes to, I guess, the Kings. We'll see. Sharp is, I mean, if he was not point guard size, I think he would have gotten a lot higher. I mean, this is still pretty high, I guess. I mean, I guess we're in the middle of the second round already, but I think it would have been an early second rounder, late first rounder, if not. Another guy that just shoots a ton of threes, shot 7.1 this year in Houston. Only shot 37.2%, but 89.1% from the free throw line. And, I mean, he takes a lot of tough threes, too, and isn't afraid to get them up. He's a physical guy. He's built really strong, but only a 6'3" wingspan, 6'2" and 3/4 height. That's not going to help him very much. But, yeah, he doesn't... I mean, he's okay with the ball, but he's not really someone you feel comfortable on the at the point with. So, but he can flat out shoot the ball. I think that'll be floor spacer. I mean, you got Caravan and like a cuff yesterday in the draft, but yeah, I don't know. I there. I, it's tough for me. I like Caravan. I like Sharp. I saw Kevin O'Connor say that Kings were his winner of the draft. I agree with that with the Acuff pick. And like I said, I like their other two picks just as players. I just, a team like Sacramento, I don't get why you're taking older guys without much upside for instead of players that you can pop on.
Sixth pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Felix Opara from Lagos, Nigeria, and the University of Tennessee.
All right, there goes another volunteer off the board. Let's see. Oops. Now this is, I mean, he's a little bit of an older prospect. Once again, played 4 years. Only 2 colleges for him, Ohio State and Tennessee. He showed a little, like, he'll shoot an occasional 3 and make it. He doesn't, like, shoot enough to know if that's part of his game, but only 63.5% from the free throw line this year, but only two attempts a game, so it's hard to tell there. But kind of an older big with, I mean, at the very least, you know you're gonna get like a rim protector, a paint presence on both ends, whether it be as a lob threat or you know, defensively at the basket. I mean, yeah, I mean, if this pick is staying with Orlando, I mean, maybe if they get out and run a little bit under Sweeney, he could do some things there, but one of those guys who doesn't really have, I mean, maybe he showed this in workouts and to teams that he has some potential in offense, but is someone who hasn't really shown that potential in 4 years. So once again, it's like, at one point, do you give up on thinking that he will develop an offensive stuff or offensive thing? What's up, Clutchison? How are you doing, man? Good to see you. Luke, I have no idea, man. I have no idea. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. They were all pro previous ownership and seemingly blindly supporting the previous owners, and now they hate every single thing they do with the new owner. So I guess in this draft, when like I've been saying, there isn't a lot of like actual talent. You just pick a guy and hope that he develops into something that, or develops a skill that he hasn't shown yet. But like I said, I understand doing that with like guys who are freshman or sophomore or younger guys, but I don't understand doing that with 4-year guys, hoping that they'll change into something they've never been before. Yeah, I mean, I think Vasir's by far the. I mean, I had. I mean, in this draft, I had him right at the end of the first round. I don't think he goes that high in most drafts, but definitely think a team should draft him here in the last 14 picks. If you're gonna take a guard that you just want like a solid backup type guard who's a good player, I'm probably taking Jaden Bradley is on the board. One of the only other players I would take in this draft. Outside of that, there isn't much left. All right, here we go. It says Knicks.
With the 47th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Tyler Nickel from Vanderbilt University.
All right, they go with Tyler Nickel. Another shooter off the board. Once again, please feel free to discuss any trades being mentioned. Yeah. Yeah, he might have been a guy that if he didn't get drafted, that might have been a good like two-way guy. Let's see what he measured. So Nickel measured at 6'6" without shoes, 6'8" wingspan. So small forward size. Yeah, I mean, 40% 3-point shooter in college, pretty consistent with that. 4-year guy. Started at North Carolina, barely played. And then transferred to Virginia Tech, played a little bit more there as a sophomore, and then Vanderbilt the last 2 years. Played over 30 minutes a game for them this year. Shot, like I said, 40% from 3. His career, 39.4%. He's been very consistent with that. Free throw percentage, 84.7%. So the indicators are there for him to be a good shooter in the NBA. They're showing Mike Schmitz on it. It was weird. I don't know if you guys caught any of Schmitz's press conference. He's yeah. Brendan says 46 got traded to. That's Akpara, right? Went 46 to the Wizards for 51 and 60. I guess, you give Trae Young another lob threat. It's fine.
With the 48th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Toibu Lawal from London, England, and Virginia Tech.
There's your guy, AJ. Tell me why you like him. All right, so the wall measured at 6'7" and a quarter, 6'10" and a half wingspan, 8'8" and a half standing reach. He did test pretty good with the athletic drills, like the vertical jump and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, has some potential there as like an athletic wing. He's pretty good defensive player, can block shots. Obviously with that leaping ability, he uses his athleticism pretty well for rebounding. But he gives you like nothing on offense. So, he still has some room to maybe develop it. But as of right now, absolutely no offensive game. But is a really good defender and athletic guy. You just hope he does something to fix that on the offensive end. He hasn't been playing basketball a ton. I think he started kind of late, but another 4-year college guy that never really developed a shot or anything. So, yeah, I guess the potential's there for him to do so. He did shoot 2 3-pointers and shot 37.1% 2 years ago. So I guess maybe. Yeah. At this point in the draft, you just take someone that has some physical traits you like and hope you can mold them into something you like. Tristan says in 1 month he only works like 2 night shifts, and then his work thinks they're funny because they scheduled them both on draft nights. Yeah, that's bad timing. Bad timing. Bucks are getting the 60th pick for cash considerations. The Lakers got the 57th pick for cash considerations. So if you want to just pay a little bit of cash, you could get into the back half of this draft. But I would find it funny if Dundon actually gave up cash for picks. That's something that Paul Allen was known for. Actually got the NBA actually changed the rules because of Paul Allen, because he used to buy first round picks. I know like one of the last years of it, he bought one from Phoenix. And the NBA then they started putting limits on how much cash you could send out in trades. And then they made the first round ineligible to be traded straight for cash. You had to give up a player or future picks or something. So kind of funny, but second rounders. He bought second rounders all the time. Paul Allen loved the draft, and he thought he was a scout at times, and had guys he fell in love with. Like Patty Mills is one of his guys, and it's kind of fun having an owner like that. Now we have apparently the cheapest guy in the history of the world as our owner, who, yeah, is going to ruin the entire sanctity of the NBA by his cheapness. One coach at a time. All right, here comes Tatum for pick number
49th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft. The Denver Nuggets select Bryce Hopkins from St. John's University.
All right, another Red Storm goes off the books. This time it's Bryce Hopkins. All right. So Hopkins shot 2.5 threes a game, 36.3% from three. Only 71.3% from the line, though. Let's see his. Measured at 6'6" without shoes, 6'10.5" wingspan, so good small forward size there. Yeah. I mean, I like him better than Malik from Duke, I guess. College career, yeah. Yeah. He missed almost 2 full seasons because of an ACL tear with Providence. I mean, he was okay this season. It's fine. It's fine. Just, I don't know. A lot of these picks just seem like you're adding bodies, you know? And how is Vasir still on the board? Trevor says, sounds like Celtics talking to a few teams for Brown right now. Cronin better be one of those calls. I think it's just going to take a third team if we're dealing directly with Boston. I don't see them liking what we're offering in terms of them staying relevant and us adding a star. That means less wear on his knees, but it kind of, he was like super athletic before that, so I don't know about that. But yeah, less wear overall, I guess, if he sat out 2 years. All right, who's going to get drafted during the Dr. Squatch commercial? Jeremy Grant is the win now Celtics the win now player the Celtics need. I mean, I don't think Jeremy would be bad for them, but this still doesn't help their. Yeah, I hate this. Trevin says Vasar is trying to fall to a specific team. I wish teams would call agents bluffs with that. Does anyone know what team that is? Is it the Raptors here at the next pick? Because I think that would be a good fit for the Raptors. Especially they seem pretty down on Pirtle, like they're trying to trade him, so after sign him to that big extension. The Lakers. I don't know if he's a good fit on the Lakers, but oh, they keep fooling me where they show like the podium like where it's gonna walk out and then he doesn't. And then they go back to the studio table. So the lake, yeah, I don't really like the. No, it's not Tatum that's pump faking me, AJ. It's the ESPN cameras. They show the podium like they're waiting for him to come out, and then he doesn't. Yeah, I I like Worcester's pick fit here with the Raptors, not so much the Lakers, if that's who he's trying to fall to.
We have a trade to announce. The Oklahoma City Thunder are trading to the Miami Heat the draft rights to Ryan Conwell, the 37th pick, in exchange for the draft rights to Otega Owe, the 41st pick, and financial considerations. With the 50th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select Jaden Bradley from the University of Arizona.
Here's another example of I really like the player. I don't know about this fit, man. With the aforementioned Jamal Shed still there. But I mean, in a really good basketball conference, he was the player of the year this last year. Can do a little bit of everything. Handle the ball, create shots. Pretty good shooter from three. Can pass a little bit. Gets after it defensively. I think very solid guard. I think he was the best of the solid guards here in the second round. So who knows? Maybe he's going to a different team or something. But yeah, I guess at this point of the draft, pick 50. That's a really good selection, I think. All right, so the Wizards have traded this pick. They're showing a 3-team trade where the Wizards got Akpara. The Magic get this pick and future cash, and then gave the 60th pick to Milwaukee. So, man, what did I completely missed the pick, huh? Did they not show it on ESPN, or did I just completely space it? Yeah, Otega Owe at 41. Did I just miss it? Did they announce it on the air, or did they not? Or did they do that during a commercial? I just didn't see it on the bottom. He was another defensive guard. I'm assuming he'd be on like a 2-way if he stays with OKC. Yeah, I missed 41. I think I don't remember playing that over the air. All right, here we go with 51.
With the 51st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Isaiah Nelson from the University of South Florida.
All right. So Isaiah Nelson off the board. Still trying to figure out how I missed that pick. I mean, I don't think he measured very well, which is why maybe he wasn't taken higher. Let's see what his measurements ended up being. 6'8" and a quarter, and 7'2" and a half wingspan. So he's basically power forward size, but can do nothing with the ball. So really good on defense. So maybe you have a role for him there in that regard. he can rebound and it can be a lob threat. Maybe if you're a faster paced team, he fits in well, but I mean, he can't shoot. And as a forward size, if you can't handle the ball at all, it's tough to see like a role outside of defensive specialist. Um, but yeah, another 4-year player that I mean, he's got decent athleticism, just doesn't have the right size frame, I think, to be good. Um, Stephen A. Smith says he thinks Dame will end up in Miami. So the Blazers are just going to trade Dame this offseason. That would be crazy. I can't see Joe Cronin doing that. I mean, maybe because Dundon comes in and I mean, that would clearly be just Dundon not wanting Dame here, but I think that's just pure fan fiction from Stephen A. Smith there. But yeah, Dame also has a no trade clause, so man, I really wish if I don't think players and agents should be able to dictate where people go. It's a draft. Like if you have a pick and want to select a player, you should pick them. So this Henry Vassar thing is kind of aggravating me, and it's happened with what freaking happened with Bronny James of all people, and I think it happened with Rupert. It happens at the end of the draft where people don't want to get drafted at all. They just want to have their option to go to a team. I know you have to maintain some level of dignity with these agents, but I would just be like, dude, we like your client, like we want him on our team. Like why would you be mad at us for that? I mean, whatever you think of Stephen A. Smith, he's built himself into one of the highest paid sports personalities ever. So, I mean, he can be a dumbass, but he has made something of himself.
With the 52nd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the LA Clippers select Henry Vassar from Tallinn, Estonia, and the University of North Carolina.
All right, there we go with the Clippers. He goes to the Clippers. And, I mean, I guess if Trevin said LA earlier, oh no, you said Lakers. Wrong LA team, I guess. Yeah, so I really like this for the Clippers. They needed some center depth. I don't know if he's going to be ready to start for them anytime soon, but at this point in the draft, this is awesome value for the Clippers. They had a really good draft. Really good. Actually, so a lot of these second round guys I didn't have extensive notes on, but so that this Vassar was like one of the last guys I had notes on, or like detailed ones. So much like yesterday, here's my thoughts on him. Okay size and mobility, um, but not really athletic. It's weird. He like kind of moves well, but not in like a wow, this guy's a freak athlete or anything like that. He just okay mobility, but not really athletic. Definitely needs to get stronger. That's going to be one of his keys to succeeding. Was really impressed with how good he moved off ball. He cuts a lot, and really excels like as the roller in a pick and roll situation. Um, and yeah, so could see him using that skill a lot to uh, create opportunities for him. Good rim finisher. I like the way he uses both hands to finish around the basket. Seems pretty good with both offhand and strong hand. Um, Only shot about 3 attempts per game, but he shot 43% from three on those 3 attempts. So definitely has potential there. I don't know if Lopez will be back, but you know, learn from a guy like Brooke Lopez on how to become that floor spacer. Definitely has uh, a lot of potential there as a stretch big. Reads the floor decently. Upside, I think, as a passer. Where it goes wrong, he struggles to protect the rim, despite having good size. And he's really going to need to take a jump on defense to become a quality NBA player. Much like I just talked about with Brooke Lopez shooting the ball, he definitely needs to find a way to become, because Brooke wasn't a great defender either early on in his career, but he turned himself into, I think at one point he finished second in defensive player of the year voting, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Just learned how to become a rim protector, so he's going to need to do that. But really good pick for the Clippers here at this point of the draft.
With the 53rd pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Ugana Onyenso from Imo State, Nigeria, the NBA Academy, Africa, and the University of Virginia.
All right, there goes Onyenso. So, broken record time. Big, who can protect the rim. Stop me if you've heard this before. Block shots. Can do some stuff around the basket. Outside of defense, though, like nothing. Like he is not a scorer at all. I mean, there's nothing on the offensive end you can even point to outside of maybe just dunking and being a lob threat. Outside of that, there's really, I don't know what to say about his offense other than it's not good. So he's going to really have to either fix that a little bit or just be an incredibly good defender to where some of that stuff doesn't matter, because there's been so many guys like this. But once again, 4-year player in college, started at Kentucky, went to Kansas State, Virginia. If you're not contributing on offense much, and just not really, it's weird. There's so many of these people. Clippers traded the picks to the Hawks. The Hawks have Vizier. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I think is a good fit with the Hawks too. They have some defensive pieces. Um, yeah. Sorry. But yeah, it's just, I keep saying this. It's weird how many players in this draft, and they're only getting drafted because normally a lot of these guys would not get drafted, but so many people are staying in school because of the NIL money. So these guys have a chance to get drafted here despite not ever developing on one side of the ball. And to me, it's like you're drafting a prospect, like a project big, that is old enough to not be a project anymore. If all these guys were like 20 and you had still a couple of years to maybe develop them, but when we're talking about like 22 to 24-year-old bigs that have had 4 years to show any kind of improvement at all on that end, and you just do not see it, to me, that says a lot about if you can ever expect them to do something. So, I just, a lot of these guys, it's actually frustrating if you play basketball at all, at any level, just to watch some of these guys with just insane measurables that if you could just have that yourself, how like you would work tirelessly to like be the best player you could be, and it just never seems to work for some of these guys. It's kind of frustrating. All right, here comes Tatum again. Says the Warriors at 54.
With the 54th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Leger Jones from Florida State University.
All right, can you fix your screen on draft? They had like a huge square of pixelated things there. All right, so Leger Jones. Yeah, so this is, I think this was a better pick than some of the other guys because this guy actually has some flashes of being capable at the very least. You know, he's an okay shooter, an okay defender, and you know, decent size as a wing. So yeah, I don't mind this pick at all. Might have a little bit more potential than some of the other guys. Let's take a look at his measurables. So Jones, he wasn't even at the combine though, or at least the main combine. But yeah, didn't like, he has potential as a shooter. Didn't shoot it great. 32.5% on 5 attempts. Not bad. Shot 80% from the free throw line at St. Bonaventure. 76.3% last year at Florida State. It's a lot of these guys are G League level players anyways. Rockets trading 55 to the Clippers. Chase says some won't even get two ways. I think unless you're an international player that never comes over, I think most second round picks with how the rosters are with 3 two-ways available. I think most of them will end up being two-ways. I don't see many moving forward or in the recent years that have been drafted and then don't even get a two-way contract. Vic says, watch how many undrafted players end up in the Heat Summer League by tomorrow. I don't know about that. I think maybe there's a few. I really like them trading for Ryan but I don't think a team like that needs a bunch of undrafted rookies, even though they've had some success with undrafted guys. I think they're going to get a lot. I mean, it's almost pretty much guaranteed that Chris Middleton's going to go there. I think they're going to get a lot of guys that if they don't get like a full mid-level exception, will just go there and ring chase for a year. Especially if you're a guard or a wing, I would definitely go there because you're going to have an opportunity to play and then maybe get a contract the next year. But yeah, I don't know how many undrafted guys. I don't think there's going to be a ton of them just pounding down the door to get to them because you might not play much. All right.
Western University.
Sorry, Nick Martinelli just got drafted. This pick is apparently being traded to 53 got traded to the Pistons. Who was 53? Oh, that was Inyonso. Okay, so they're going to replace Beef Stew with Onyeso. Okay. Nick Martinelli goes. I mean, here's another shooter. We're basically seeing athletic bigs that have no offense or shooters going right now. Yeah. All right, so Martinelli's, let's see what he measured at. 6'6" and a half, 6'10" wingspan. So another forward size, kind of similar to Tyler Billabell. I mean, he scored a lot. 23 points last year, 20 and a half the year before. Shot 41.7% from three this year. 80% from the free throw line, so really improved his shooting there. So unlike some of the other guys we've talked about, actually showed growth shooting the ball on more attempts, got to the free throw line a little bit more. Yeah, so just adding some shooting. I have no idea what team was that going to. He was traded to what team? Not Pistons. Clippers. Is it possible that Heat can trade for Kawhi? I don't. What could they possibly? Because the Heat or the Clippers wouldn't want Wiggins, I don't think. So what do they possibly have that would be worth it to the Clippers, especially without any draft picks now? I mean, I don't see, after they traded Powell for salary reasons because they didn't want to pay him, I don't see why they would now want to pay Powell a bigger price tag because he's an all-star. Like, I don't see them doing that. Especially after drafting Keaton Wagler. I don't think they care about that. Um, I mean, I think so. Biggest second round steal so far. I think. I think it's pretty clear it's Vassar going all the way into the 50s, 52. But I really think Malik Thomas to your Cavs.
With the 56th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Vsevolod Ischenko from Rostov-on-Don, Russia, and Lokomotiv Kuban Club.
Ischenko. So that's the Lakers trading up to this pick. Can you please, NBA, just, I've been saying this for like 40 years. Just freaking put the team that's getting the pick. I mean, this guy, Ischenko, can shoot the ball. He's young. Like, I actually really like just taking a flyer on him right now versus what's left on the board. So yeah, I don't think this is a bad pick. Right now, he's mostly just a shooter, but definitely has some ability to maybe do some more stuff. Has shown a little bit of ability beyond just shooting, and so yeah, I'm just taking a shot at him. Why not at this point of the draft? 56 to Dallas. So Lakers traded cash for this pick before the draft, and now they traded him to Dallas? Or is that wrong? It's kind of funny trading cash for a pick and then trading that pick. But certainly possible, I guess. What did they... Because if Lakers traded cash, I mean, I guess they did that yesterday when they moved up one spot in the 20s. But trading cash in a trade hard caps you at one of the at the second apron. So Lakers were trying to trade up to get Vassar. See, I don't like his fit on the Lakers as much as I liked it on other teams. I mean, if they could have gotten him, I don't think it would have been a bad pick, but. Not necessarily, Alex. I just want them to have one of their two-way spots should be used on just a guy who can light it up from three. So I don't really know who that is, but Uzon wouldn't be bad, but it just sucks when he we already have Caleb Love right now on a two-way, so I don't think like a point guard necessarily makes sense. So I would hope it'd be more of like a wing, like a bigger shooting guard slash small forward type shooter, but I don't know. Having that guy in a two-way. So like Duop Reith was like a good guy who could come in and hit some threes sometimes, but like once you promoted him to the actual roster and had him on an actual contract, then it's a little harder to warrant having that roster spot for just shooters. But you can there was some talk yesterday and this morning about Jarrett Allen. According to Windhorse, the Lakers would say yes in a tenth of a second or something like that if the Cavs offered a sign and trade for LeBron for Jarrett Allen straight up. Would you do that, Alex? To get LeBron back? Need to find some more center depth if you do that, but or LeBron could be your center. Alright, just got 4 picks left. Alex would not do that trade. Wow. You confirmed Alex does not want LeBron back in Cleveland. Wow. Just teasing, buddy. So yeah, after this draft is over, we got 4 picks. I forgot how long it was until the Caleb Love thing was announced, but felt like it was fairly soon after the draft. But usually, right when it ends, there's like a flood of Shams tweets and other people, local reporters saying, "Oh, they signed this person." I don't know why this pick is taking so long. Mav sent cash, so the Lakers got it for cash and then gave it away for cash. What if the Blazers were hoping Martinelli would go undrafted? Alright. Here finally comes Tatum. This pick is going to say Atlanta,
With the 57th pick in the 2026
Washington.
NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Narcisse Ngoy from Champigny-sur-Marne, France, and France's Poitiers club.
Narcisse Ngoy, you played for multiple teams here.
All right. Narcisse. Man, I didn't. Yeah. They got to bring in Fran Fraschilla for this one. I didn't even have him on my draft board. Yeah. I admittedly don't know enough about this guy to. Doesn't look like ESPN was prepared for this guy either. That's funny. Why did it say Auburn on there? Is there just like his team just happened to be Auburn? Yeah, so ESPN doesn't even have anything on this guy. They had to turn to Fraschilla. That's really funny. But yeah, I don't this is the first guy I have like no idea about. There's still this was I was really surprised, just considering how many international players have been drafted in previous drafts. This one there was hardly any. You had what? Kareem Lopez going at 21. I think there was one more yesterday, right? And then you had Jack Cale going today. But there was really hardly anyone declared for the draft internationally. So I was really surprised. Was that Luigio? Sergio De La Rey was the other one yesterday. Yeah. But Luigio is like a 7'4" big. I was really surprised that he dropped out of the draft, especially this draft. Yeah, he measured 7'2" 3/4, 7'5.5" wingspan. So I was kind of surprised. I thought he would have for sure been drafted this year.
In the 2026 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Jaron Pierre Jr. from Southern Methodist University.
All right, we got the SMU guard off the board. Two picks left, and then we all go follow Twitter. So this guy actually has been in college for 6 years. He had a redshirt year. I don't know if he got hurt or what the case was, but 23-24 he didn't play. But he was at Southern Miss his first 2 years, Wichita State, Jacksonville State, before transferring to SMU his senior year. Shot 37% from 3 last year off 6.4 attempts, so not bad there. As a guard, 75.8 from the line, though. The year before, though, 81% from the line on more attempts. But yeah, let's see what Pierre measured at. Oh, he was also, he might have been one of the, what do they call it, the G League Combine ones. I didn't see him on the regular Combine list. Definitely shown ability to score the ball. SMU they kind of made the tourney. They were in one of the first 4 games, right? I think they lost that one. Was that the SMU who played Miami of Ohio? I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. He's another one of those guys who, like, he can do a lot of different things, but doesn't do any of them good enough. Yeah. Did I take my kids to see Toy Story 5? No, I mean I've been pretty later, Freddie. Thanks for watching. I've been pretty locked into the draft stuff. Also, like a couple days last week, family and I went to the beach for a couple days. But yeah, haven't gotten to the movie yet. My kids, I don't know. We all want to see it, but they're not like, oh, we got to see it right away. Yeah. I understand why there's a 4th and 5th one, but Toy Story 3 was like the best ending to a movie one of the best movies of all time in terms of wrapping up a trilogy and just emotional. And I just thought it ended in the most perfect way. And so having them do the cash grabs of 4 and 5. I mean, 4 wasn't bad, but it's just obviously they're just getting money. So, but just in terms of like the first 3, I think that's one of the best trilogies of all time. It's kind of sad that they kept going, but. All right, Trey Kaufman-Renn. Sorry I missed that one. He's off the board as well at 59, which leaves us with the last pick of the night. This pick has been traded a bunch, right? So I don't know. Yeah. I think Kaufman-Renn went to the combine. 6'7" 3/4. 6'10.5" wingspan. So pretty good size for a forward. It kind of plays. He plays like a center though, with a forward body. So another one of those guys that can't really shoot very well. But like in college, you can get away with that if you have good size. Being kind of a around the basket type scorer, but I think he's going to really struggle to have kind of a role on offense in the NBA outside of around the basket. You get 15.4% from 3 and 63.6 from the free throw line, so not good enough, I think, in the NBA if you're not a big man that gets a lot of rim opportunities. So yeah, go for Mr. Irrelevant here. Yeah, I mean, Kaufman-Renn he's alright. I don't know. I don't really like his defensive upside or whatever either. So it's kind of a wasted pick in my mind. But once again, I don't know. Most of these picks are going to be wasted if there's not anyone. Yeah. Oh wow, they're already announcing 2 ways. Trey Donaldson to the Heat, A.K. Okereke. I guess those guys aren't getting drafted 60th then. Who's announcing these, Brendan? If the Blazers don't sign a 2-way, it's like... I told you guys yesterday, I didn't really say it much tonight, but the Blazers, I said I didn't think have a good sense if they were going to trade into the second round, but they seemed completely disinterested in this draft. Like, did not care one bit that they didn't have a pick in this draft, other than they could have used it to trade it, I guess, but they did not seem to be bothered by the fact that they did not have a pick in this one. I don't think Dundon hates picks, but it's... I don't think he cares about the draft like a lot of other people, so... Stop spamming different ways of saying Shams, AJ. Stop being annoying. Alright, so just waiting on the last pick of the draft. And then we can talk about these 2 ways, with 2 of them already being announced. I'm assuming, yeah, you still got a lot of guards. You got Nick Boyd, Kylan Boswell, Milos Uzan. Assuming those guys will all get two ways here pretty soon.
Before I announce today's final pick, I want to congratulate all these young men and their families. Thank you to ESPN for broadcasting the second round of the draft, and to our partners around the world for your continued support. And thank you to all the NBA fans watching today. We look forward to the start of NBA Summer League in Las Vegas on July 9th. With the 60th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Malik Lewis from San Fernando, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix of the NBL. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Malik Lewis.
All right, that concludes the draft. So there's another player. I'm not sure if not sure if he'll play in the NBA this year, or if this is going to be a stash, but just kind of bounced around a little bit. He's a project. We'll see. Really good athlete, decent size. Seems to understand the game well. Has potential as a defender. Yeah, so 60th pick. Yeah. I don't know what that means, Lloyd, but welcome to the show. Eric, yes, that's me. Lloyd, hello. What's up, everyone else? The draft is over now. We'll just wait for the two ways to be announced. Thank you for making who gets who as confusing as possible. Are you talking about me or the NBA in general? Because I really hate that. I've been complaining about that. Trey Donaldson, like a volume score with Miami this year, so he stays in the same area, goes to the Heat. Yeah, please just announce any two-way signings you guys see in chat there. So the Lakers got Okereke. That's a guy the Blazers should have gone after. I know, like, if the Lakers are calling, they probably choose him, but that's another guy. I mean, it wasn't super high volume, but almost 3 attempts per game, shot 40% from 3. It was like a 6'7" wing. Yeah, those are the kind of guys the Blazers need to find, I think. Number 50 was the only second rounder that wasn't traded. That's crazy. Crazy. Let me find... I mean, if we didn't have Caleb Love on a two-way, I think there's a bunch. There's a ton of two-way point guards that would be available right now. I'm just trying to figure out who who's some like good shooters left. Once again, if whoever's checking Twitter can continue to post stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, with all these trades, it should be like really exciting, but it really isn't because of the way the NBA does it. All these point guards, like I mentioned Uzon a few times, um, Boswell, Nick Boyd, um, you got Lipsy from Iowa State. Um, Duke Miles from Vanderbilt. There's like a bunch of guards that would be fine on a two-way, but I don't think we need a two-way guard. I think we need a wing shooter. Wing shooter. Rafael Castro to the Bucks on a two-way. Alex says, everyone Hulk smash that like button and subscribe. Free agency is a week away. Yep, I'll be here on Tuesday to have that show. Might have a guest with me maybe, or might collab with another channel like I talked about yesterday. But yeah, we'll be live. So yeah, if you enjoyed hanging out with me the last couple days and you haven't yet subscribed, really appreciate anyone who does. And if you just watch without subscribing, that's fine too. But yeah, liking the channel really helps us out, and doesn't cost you anything, so much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who does that. So Rafael Castro to the Bucks. Castro's like, that's so funny how many of these guys there are. Like, 4-year college player, shows a lot of defensive prowess, can block shots and rebound, but has like no offensive game. It's gone silent. Sorry, trying to. This isn't as bad as yesterday, so yeah, I've only been live 2 hours and 40 minutes or so. When I ended that stream yesterday, I was like, wow, I was just talking for like 4.5 hours straight with no no break, no. I mean, I guess I get breaks when I turned on like the picks being announced, but it didn't seem like 4.5 hours. I'm not like complaining or anything, but it is crazy to just sit here and talk for like 4.5 hours straight without anyone to bounce things off of, or anyone to or any type of like commercial breaks or anything. No, my voice wasn't bad at all. It's a little weird today, but yeah. What's up, Taylor? Just joining. Marv says, just because the Celtics made Brown available in the Giannis trade, does that really mean they're shopping him now for best offers? Apparently they are. There's been several people that have said, national media, that have said he's going to be traded. But yeah. Josh Dix to OKC. Nice. I'm not saying that name. It's like Grady. I'm sure if my kids were down here, they'd think it was funny if I said that name on the stream. I mean, see, that's the kind of guy the Blazers should be looking at. I don't know if he's an NBA player though, so I'm not like mad about that or anything. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball well this year, but the previous 3 years at Iowa before he transferred to Creighton, he was really good. 42, 42, and 40. Creighton wasn't. I mean, Creighton's usually been good recently. They had kind of a rough year. Someone like that going from Iowa, where you have other good players around, to a team where you're more of the focal point of a defensive coverage. Yeah. Do I think the Suns should keep Mark Williams or do a sign and trade like rumored? I mean, if they have a good trade partner, I don't mind it. But, you gave up a decent amount to get him last year. So if you let him leave without getting much for him in return, I don't like that at all. But they also drafted the other Duke center. I'm blanking on his name right now, but they drafted another center last year, so they didn't really play him much. I'll watch, thank you. When do I think we get more trades? Yeah, I don't know if it'll happen. There's usually some trades between now and free agency. Still kind of a small sample size of this new format where you can sign your own free agents before free agency. We had Austin Reeves, who probably would have been someone who like got a big offer from Detroit or someone else. So definitely could see some trades happening, but I also feel like a lot of the trades are going to be cap space type trades, and as teams use up that cap space, like that big trade with Julius Randle and Nicholas Claxton, that cuts into what both of those teams can do. So I don't know. Probably have a lot of sign-in trades that don't start off as sign-in trades, but that get roped into some of these other deals just to make it work financially that wouldn't work on their own. So I could definitely see some of that, but I don't know, like something's telling me that a lot of these like there's always going to be star trades, I guess, but a lot of these lower like role player type trades where teams in the past would have gotten a first round pick. I mentioned Gafford and PJ Washington from Dallas earlier. Some of them I feel like aren't going to get as much for those guys with this new lottery reform, and So yeah, I'm really curious to see how that affects the trade markets for some of these players, and if some of them just try to keep players and don't think it's worth it to trade them then, or if they um, end up just moving them for less. I still expect John Morant and maybe Kyrie Irving to get traded at some point. I don't know if that'll be before free agency or not, but those are two big names that still probably will be traded. And then, of course, with all the talk about Trey Murphy and Jaylen Brown, I don't know if those teams that New Orleans is apparently asking for 2 firsts for Herb Jones too. So I don't know. Yeah. Why do I think teams lean into players that are obviously not first options for contending teams like Dame, Booker, Iverson, etc.? Um, I don't think I don't think it's necessarily that those teams lead into them, and I don't think it's necessarily that those players can't win. I mean, we just saw Jalen Brunson. I'd put him as one of those guys um, that a lot of people didn't think would be a first option on a winning team, and they just won a title. Um, I don't know. I think a lot of that has to do with the team around him, the coaching, but it's really hard to find like one of those guys, let alone 2 good options, or if you have a good first option, even if he's not a championship option. Like, take Denny, for example. There's been a lot of talk this season about um, whether or not can be like a first option on a good team, like a contending team. And I think the consensus is kind of that he is not. But uh, it feels like it's just like, okay, so you acquired that guy, but then how do you acquire someone better than him too? It's just really hard to do. And as Jake points out, Booker almost won a title in 2021. They were up 2-0 in the finals, and you know he would have won one with an older Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton and stuff. So like I don't think it's necessarily fair. And then like what has he had to play with since those guys left? I mean, that team has not. They haven't had. They made the trade for Durant, and that was a disaster. Um, Houston's finding that out as well. The Nets did nothing with Durant and Harden and all them, but I think you can think of plenty of examples of guys who, if they had a better team around him, I mean, Dame got to the Western Conference Finals with his second best player being basically a duplicative, lesser version of himself. So I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily that teams think they can just contend with those guys as their first option. I think it's just some of those guys don't have the best roster building around them to maximize them. And then, of course, if you get a 1B to your 1A, I think those guys are fine. Spurs and Raptors keeping an eye on Kawhi. Has there really been no one else? There's like 3 people have signed 2 ways. Yeah, Jake, I felt like the Suns had. I mean, that was about as good of a year as you could have hoped for. I mean, maybe you wanted them to be worse off, but um, I think just in terms of that roster kind of got maximized. So that leads to me thinking they had a decent enough coach. And yeah, so um, I think ultimately, though, they're going to have to put some good. Like you can't just win with Devin Booker and a bunch of role players. You're eventually gonna have to either trade him or get like to Lloyd's point. Like you do have to have another super talented guy that can help that number one option. You can't just have him be the main guy. I don't know. Jalen Green is not really. I mean, he's fine as a scorer, but like I wouldn't trust him as my number two option on like a good team. All right. I'm gonna start checking myself. Jake says he hopes they trade Green to get someone better next to Booker. Yeah. I'm just going to try to check to see if I can find anything. Why is no one signing? Guess they just want us to be bored. The second round wasn't boring enough, I guess. Wasn't boring enough. After the stream last night, my daughter and I tried to just see how long of a line there was at there was a new In-N-Out close to my house that went in, and there must have been like 300 people waiting outside just to get in the building, and this was at like 9 or 10 o'clock last night. I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm not going there anytime soon unless it's like 1 in the morning. You have a musical reference for like everything. Oh, by the way, Rich says hi to everyone. Well, yeah, I'll wait a few more minutes to see if we get anything happening. I'm really surprised the Blazers haven't pounced on someone after not having a draft pick. Disappointing for sure that they're not doing anything. Jalen Sellers to the Bulls. All right. The Bulls have already got like 3 rookies. Come on. Sign someone to teams that don't have draft picks like the Blazers. How about you, Lloyd Neal? How many points could you give us off the bench? That's funny, mute. He said he thinks Kiki at 67 could still give us 12 off the bench. Man. You're not gonna like anything I say, so like Kwame Brown, I don't know. Yeah, so my player comp from Coapede is. yeah, just if anyone has any questions while we just wait for players to be signed. Man, can the Blazers please just do something? I mean, you have two ways available, right? Just sign somebody. I like that Jalen Sellers signing for the Bulls. He's a shooter. The Blazers. I mean, he's a guard, so I get why the Blazers aren't looking necessarily at those types, but shot almost 43% from three, 86% from the free throw line. Averaged 18 points for Providence in the Big East. Yeah, that's the kind of guy you take a shot on and as a two-way. Yeah, it sucks when some of these guys, like, they're kind of undersized, even at shooting guard. Like you'd hope they'd be like a. They're not worrying. Let's not fearmonger in this chat. Come on. Billy Doe's getting a two-way with the Nets. I mean, they have so many young guys. I guess that makes sense, but no, they don't. AJ. All right, yeah. Summer League starts on July 9th. I mean, used to be not every team did Summer League. I'm assuming the Blazers are. I'm guessing that. Well, I don't know. I don't know if Young will play or not. He should. Just for the views. Breaking news.
Malika, we started the night talking about Boston's Jaylen Brown, and another star whose name is picking up steam in the NBA trade market here during draft week as we get closer to free agency is Charlotte's LaMelo Ball. Multiple teams are strongly pursuing LaMelo Ball right now. The Hornets are engaged, I'm told, and Ball had a strong finish to the season that mirrored the Hornets' rise over the course of the last calendar year. Both sides have been in a good place. Ball does want to be in Charlotte, I'm told, but this is an organization fielding some aggressive offers. So if the price is met, he could very well be on the move. This is a developing story, potentially over the next 24, 48 hours.
All right. So LaMelo Ball. So last offseason, I thought they should have traded LaMelo Ball. But they ended up keeping him. And then they end up having a really breakout season, almost make the playoffs. You know, they got off to a bad start, but, you know, once they kind of figured it out, that was a really good team. People thought that was maybe a scary team for some of the top teams in the East to play because the East wasn't great. And so I'm really surprised that they'd engage in trading him. As Shams just mentioned, it's not like LaMelo wanted out of Charlotte or anything. But yeah, so what do you guys think? Is this an NBA channel? Should I leave? No, you shouldn't leave, Lloyd. I don't know what your problem is. I just don't like fear mongering that the Blazers are gonna leave. I think they'll stay, and if not, we're all screwed anyway. So, the Pistons, says AJ. I don't like his fit on the Pistons. I think you keep the ball in Cade's hands. So it'd have to be a team that needs the ball in his hands. Grizzlies for Ja? Like maybe they just switch out problematic guards. Phoenix? Phoenix? Yeah. Clippers? I don't know. Are you a Garland for LaMelo Ball type swap? I don't know if Charlotte does that. I kind of like him in Phoenix. Houston? I guess. We'll never win with LaMelo. Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily they would have. I'm just saying like it kind of surprises me that the type of season that seemingly on the come up, why it just would come out now. Raptors would be interesting, I guess. They have the wings that can make up for him. Atlanta just got Flemings. Otherwise, that one might have been a spot. Chicago. Dude. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, like, what. Because AJS, what even is his value? That's weird because I don't know if Charlotte's going to need something that helps them get better. And I don't know what team's going to give up, like, really good pieces to get him. So, wow. Maybe he's going to the. No, he's definitely not a Celtics type player. I'm just trying to think. Would Mavericks maybe think about putting him next to Flag? I don't know. I don't know if Dusty May would want that headache after just. Would have been good for the Wiz instead of Trae Young. Yeah, maybe. Jake with a $2 donation. Green, Allen, and something else for LaMelo. I don't. So, Charlotte, they had 2 picks in the teens, right? They took Christian Anderson, who I guess I really like Christian Anderson, so I guess you have a point guard waiting. I don't know if he's ready to like start on a team ready to take a jump into the playoffs, but No, I would not, Luke. I did talk about that earlier, but I would not include Klingon in a Jaylen Brown trade. I would give up just about anything else, I guess. But it's not necessarily that Klingon's untouchable or should be untouchable. I have problem trying to figure out where we go center wise after using a bunch of our assets and young players to get Jaylen Brown. Now maybe including Klingon lets you keep a bunch of picks that you would have had to include otherwise. And I think Boston would definitely value Klingon. Wolves. Oh yeah, Wolves are someone we should have brought up, I guess. Timberwolves just want to do something to do something. I don't really like LaMelo's fit there next to Anthony Edwards. I'm not like the biggest Kyrie guy either, but I think he fits way better even at his age and recent injury history. Um, I think, well, I mean, Gobert kind of makes sense. I know Diabate had a pretty good run at center, but he's like a really undersized center. And I think on a like good team, he's more of a bench center. Um, yeah, yeah, Elias. Boston wants a good big. That's why Klingen's name gets brought up. And I know Klingen had a tough playoffs, but I mean, it was his first playoffs. He's been good, and he was good in college in pressure situations. He feels like the type that will work on his game. He came back this season in much better shape. Obviously, worked really hard last summer to on conditioning and improving. Was obviously much better this year. Still has a lot of room to jump. Has some growth potential offensively. Um, Depending on the new schemes under a new coaching staff, um, should should be a decent anchor on a good defense. And also, I mean, he was playing against Wemby, so that's tough matchup for him. I'm not giving him excuses. I just wouldn't base our entire thought process on whether Klingen's going to be our center of the future on that small of a sample size. Um, I don't like his fit on the Cavs. No, Harden for ball. How would you feel about that, Alex, if you're still here? There not been any other two-way signings? It's kind of threw us off. They did, yeah. If they re-signed Kobe White, and then they just drafted Christian Anderson. I know you hate Klingon, Shaggy Squid. It's not surprising me. Free throw guy with the $10 donation. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you bringing the heat, Eric. What worries you the most going into next season? For the Blazers, um, I what worries me the most, I think, is um, I don't know. It's like it's hard to say what worries me the most because we don't even know if they're going to make a big movie yet or not, or what kind of additions they'll do. I still think shooting is the main problem. So what worries me the most currently is that they're going to make a dumb trade just to make a trade, or they're going to um, basically do nothing like they normally do, and then uh, just going to have to really hope people improve, and that's going to be tough because of like what happened last season. That's like the standard now, like is should be making the playoffs as at least the 7th seed or whatever. And if they can't do that or struggle at all, combined with Nori's contract situation and all that, I worry how quickly it could snowball into a super negative situation. But But yeah, I don't know. It's like hard to say exactly without knowing the roster. Um, so Uptown says if we can get JB and Queta, maybe Hauser too, for any combination of three of Sharp, Scoot, Klingon, Tamani, I think we do it. Um, I just swiping out Klingon for Queta. It's not good, man. I like Nemius, but he's more of like a backup big on a contending team. He's not. I mean, he wasn't even a. I mean, he was serviceable for Boston last year, but there's a reason why they tried to trade for a center at the deadline and are now looking for another center. But that's way too much. And you have to basically trade Grant too, because I guess if you traded all four of those guys, that's enough salary with keeping Grant, but that's crazy too. What's up, Rich? Good to see you in chat. Steve says if Rob Will doesn't come back, this team is cooked, like 27-ish wins cooked. I don't think it's that bad. I think it hurts our overall ceiling, but I mean, you could still pick up a backup center. But I don't think it really. I don't think it's really. I mean, Matt, you can hear me typing. I haven't been typing at all. You can see when I shift to my computer's far away, but yeah. I just paid Rich to type that for me. Yeah, it's tough giving up that much assets. I mean, I guess you keep all your picks in that situation. You could trade Jeremy and a bunch of picks. I mean, at that point, I mean, you might as well just go super risky and go for Anthony Davis or Joel Embiid or something for cheap and just pray that you have some sort of injury luck season and contend. But I'd be surprised if they gave up that or any of those kind of combinations. But if I'm Boston, I've said this all along, and it's a trade directly with Boston, I'm asking for Tamani and Klingon. I think they fit a lot better. Yeah, I mean, but it's really hard to make the contracts work for that, Shaggy. I mean, JB and AD combined make what, over about 120 million, and then Gafford makes what, 15 to 20 or something. Fanatic says, give my opening night starting five for the Blazers prediction. Well, obviously, if they trade for like Jaylen Brown or something, he'd be starting. But as of right now, I think Dame and Drew start in the backcourt. I think Tamani and Denny start at the forwards and Klingon at the five. And so unless we trade for a star player that's better than any of those guys, I think as it sits right now, they'll bring Scoot and Sharp off the bench. Jeremy would obviously be off the bench too, and then hopefully a re-signed Rob Will. It's a pretty decent 9-man rotation if you're healthy. Need to probably sign someone free agency wise, using that mid-level exception at another forward spot. But yeah. I know, Stevie says Embiid and KD are 30-year-old children born to lose. If we get either, it's over. I agree. I'm just saying, like, maybe if you have that type of roster, you take the risk. And I'm not saying Shaggy. I'm not saying Drew is has to be kept for us to be good, but if we're making a big trade like that, I just I don't think it makes sense to include Drew as being traded if we're trying to win next year. I think Drew actually, even if he's not starting, if he's part of our 9 or 10 man rotation, I think that's the best course to try and win. Not necessarily as doing nothing and keeping him as a starter, but yeah. But I I completely am on board if we trade Scoot or Sharp or both of them, of signing Anthony to back up Damon Drew. But if we trade Drew and re-sign Anthony, then we don't have a backcourt guy who uh, can be like a vet defender type. So, and then you have a lot of money tied up in two guys. Like, I don't know if we'd get hard capped at the first apron. I'm not sure if the money works out to do that. That's why they're trying to improve the 30-year-old gym, Lloyd. Rich says Joe is sleeping. Yep, he's asleep. I don't know what that means. Come on. We need that meme. Do something with the guy poking the stick. I don't know.
Rumors. The Boston Celtics are actively in conversations with interested teams in Jaylen Brown. And the sense that I get around the league is that the Celtics are having these discussions with a level of purpose. It doesn't mean that a trade is guaranteed, because Jaylen Brown has 3 years guaranteed left on his deal on a supermax contract. And so finding the right suitor that meets the right price, that could take some time, but that time that it could take, there could be urgency that develops on either side, because clearly it could rub Jaylen Brown the wrong way. This is someone that was the 2024 Finals MVP, who was a finalist for League MVP this past season, and now his name was back offered for Giannis Antetokounmpo. 4 years ago, he was offered for Kevin Durant, and so we should have clarity on Jaylen Brown here over the next few weeks. He is extension eligible if he is with the Celtics in July, so there's going to have to be some level of resolution by then.
Yeah, with not only the season rolling in hot and everybody wanting to get into training camp with their roster set, but also just a psychiatric standpoint, you've got to make sure, psychological, I should say, you got to make sure everybody's locked in. Sean Serrano, we appreciate you.
All right, so seems pretty likely that he's going to get traded. Ducks Blazers asking what the highest and lowest value trade wise we would have to trade to get AD. I do not think AD makes any sense value wise. They might still trade for him because of his name, but value-wise, you have to include Jeremy Grant, and then it has to be one of Scoot or Sharp. And I don't see Washington valuing either of those guys in an Anthony Davis trade, especially with Jeremy Grant having 2 years left on his contract. So I think it would have to be one of those two guards, Jeremy, and at least a first, if not 2 first-round picks for Anthony Davis. And I think that's way too much value. So I just do not see a scenario where the Wizards like a whatever our minimal package would be for Anthony Davis, and we're not comfortable giving up what it would take to get there. I think it was way different at the deadline where we had 2 mid-levels expiring contracts in Rob Will and Matisse Thybulle that could have accounted for the gap in money. And so that made sense to include a draft pick or 2 to offer for 80 then, but obviously Dallas didn't accept that at the time. So I think that window passed in my mind. Do the Blazers get desperate and then give what it takes to get him? Maybe. It seems like they want to make a big splash. That certainly would be a big name coming in that would generate some buzz, even if he doesn't play much. And that would be part of the story is his availability. But I just think there was a window for the Blazers to trade for AD. They showed interest, and now some of these national reporters are just assuming because they showed interest then that they would be a team that would jump at getting him now, and I just don't see that to be the case. If he was making slightly less money where you could include Jeremy and Chris Murray and some of the smaller contracts and then give up some draft capital to get him to where you're not giving up one of your young guys to do it, I think that makes sense. But I don't see it being on the table. So I think I would be absolutely shocked if the Wizards accepted Jeremy and one of Scoot and Sharp without any picks attached. And I also don't know if that's a good trade for the Blazers to do that. There is a press conference tomorrow morning with their new coach, Mike Norai. So we'll see. So as Will Dawkins talking about Anthony Davis there, Cam? Reeves for Brown. Yeah, I don't know. This is where I'm a little unclear of the new rules, where certain players, if you re-sign, are immediately eligible to be traded, and then certain ones, the extension makes it like 6 months or whatever before you're eligible. So we'll see. Yeah, where are all the 2-way contracts though? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen if Reeves is eligible to be traded right away or not. Wolves interested in Melo Ball. Yeah, we discussed that earlier. Solar money, so whoever we sign with the mid-level exception, so it'd be about 15 mil. That player wouldn't be eligible to be traded till December 15th. So if Jaylen Brown's being traded this summer, no, I don't see Boston waiting till December 15th to trade him just so we can include whichever role player we signed to a mid-level exception. So, I mean, maybe you could do this, like Shaggy said earlier. Maybe you can do, you can include Robbo in that, but Jaylen Brown's going to cost you. I don't know if they'd be going to the Celtics. That's why there might need to be a third team, but it's going to cost you Scoot or Sharp at the very least, if not both of them, and a bunch of picks. Maybe one of them goes to Milwaukee. Maybe Miles Turner or like some of the picks, Bucks picks back. Maybe Miles Turner goes to Boston. Maybe figure out some sort of way to get some extra value there for them. But yeah, it's Sam Hoiberg to the Suns. They got Fred's son on the Suns. Come on, can we please line it two ways so we have something to talk about? It'll be right after I end the live stream, probably. Have fun house cleaning mute. Obviously, I mean, if it's just like a no-name two-way guy, I'm not gonna go live on that. But obviously, if the Blazers have any big rumors come out about them, if there's any interesting things coming out of the press conference tomorrow, I could have a video or go live talking about that. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, but it's the same thing with any player. Yeah, anyone we signed, it would as a free agent, we'd have to wait till December. So, but once again, I don't see the Wizards wanting Jeremy, so you're gonna have to pay them to take him. Shaggy says he's not a Sea Love fan, and Youngblood and the other dude, Kent, are. So it would be nice to upgrade the two ways. I think Caleb Love is a good two-way guy. I wouldn't put him on the actual roster. I think he signed a 2-year two-way deal, so I think technically we can just keep him on a two-way next year. I think that's fine. I have no problem with that. I don't mind guys who can come in and win a game or shoot you out of a game sometimes, but he's fine on a two-way. I would definitely try to find some other two-way talent though. Right now, just take a chance on some, and very least use one of those as a shooter, so you have someone who can come in and maybe show what they can do shooting the ball in games when we have injuries or people out. Yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't be an upgrade to find someone, but I don't mind having Caleb Love on a two-way. Like I said, I don't want him to be on the actual roster though. Yeah, just maybe there's not. That's a product of this draft, just not having very many good prospects, and so many that would get drafted a normal year get drafted, that there's not many two ways there. Yeah, not many two ways out there. Would I trade Drew? And if so, what is his value? I love Drew. Got to admit though. So this isn't my normal mindset, but the Blazers have kind of made it be this way. And with the way they've been going and shaping their roster and stuff, I think they're setting themselves up for a couple year window to try and win. And I don't think they're going to win a championship, don't get me wrong. But I think they're going to try and be as good as possible the next couple years. If not, what was the point really of bringing Dame back or trading for Drew or whatever? So in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to shop Drew or trade him right now. It makes a lot more sense to, if you're trying to win the next 2 years, I think Drew Holiday should be kept. Now, like, maybe you need a salary for a bigger trade like we talked about earlier, but I definitely feel more comfortable trying to win with him as part of our 9-man rotation or whatever than trading him for whatever we can get. So yeah, I don't think it's so normally after rebuilding for several years, having some decent players that are still relatively in their primes or not yet in their prime, like Denny, Tamani, Shaden and Scoot and Klingon, obviously. Normally I would say, yeah, trade Drew for a bunch of picks and assets that we can add to that. But Drew's like such a good, smart player. I think if you're I think last year it kind of hurt him at times with the injuries, obviously taking a little bit of toll on him, but also the injuries to the rest of the team made it so we had to kind of do more than he should have been asked to do, and that took his toll. As Shaggy points out, defense kind of regressed a little bit. I think that was because he was having to shoulder a little bit more offensive burden than he would have liked in some of those situations. And I think if you have a team of Dame and Denny and if we traded for a player that's a decent offensive player, I think that takes a lot of pressure off him and he can go back to being more of a role player, which is ideal for him at this point of his career. I still think he can help us get there better than whatever we get in return for a trade for him there. I have no idea, Jake, where Lamelo is going to get traded to. Where we just found out a few minutes ago that he was even going to be traded soon. So I'm not sure. I haven't done enough thinking about that yet. But I do understand that Drew's contract is a little ridiculous for his age and being kind of a role player or whatever. Like, and the same thing with Jeremy. So I totally get why moving him would make sense, like contract-wise, but I just feel like if we're gonna go for it, I'd rather try to win with him. I think him and Dame are a pretty good combination in the backcourt for at least some minutes. Maybe not like playing 35 minutes a game, but I don't know. I wasn't necessarily thinking this way when we acquired him, but I kind of want to keep him now, at least for one more year, just to see how it looks, and then maybe you look to trade him as expiring contract next year. Watson is a free agent, so the Nuggets don't have a lot of picks they can trade, I don't think. And then Cam Johnson and Watson, that's not enough for the Celtics, I don't think. And besides, they want, it's been said that they want a center. Oh yeah, if at the deadline it's not going good and Drew looks like is looking his age, and we definitely need someone that has a little bit more to give at this point. I definitely agree. Then you reassess and maybe look to move him. But yeah, right now I think it's fine if you're just trying to win the next 2 years, and I wouldn't necessarily trade many veterans. I'd probably say the same thing about Jeremy if he wasn't making so much money. If we're gonna make a big trade, we pretty much have to include him or Drew, but I'd rather include Jeremy. Yeah, his value would get lowered, but it did. I mean, they did. I feel like they did a good job of. I feel like this value is better right now than it was when we traded him for Anthony. So I think they revived some of his value. I mean, it doesn't matter if you don't trade him, I guess, but. So part of my thinking, and I've said this before, I want, and I think what's best for this roster is just having guys like Drew that just know how to frickin' play basketball and are smart on the court and are good locker room guys, but they just, I mean, I know we need some like edgy guys too. We need some guys who do the dirty work and all that kind of stuff. But I want like a bunch of smart players out there, especially if we still have Scoot and Shaden. I want guys around them with just a really good understanding of the game, and you come in and we're not going to like hurt ourselves by making stupid mistakes and all that kind of stuff. Turnovers were a huge problem this year, and I know Drew is part of that. But, you know, like I said, if his usage rate is down and he's not asked to do a ton, I think he can go back to being just a really, really good player. So, yeah. But a lot of his head scratching. So, like, if Dame's on the team next year and you're healthy, Drew's not getting the ball on an inbound pass at the end of the game, right? Like, you're designing a play for Dame or Denny or someone like that, right? So, I think a lot of that was just, at this point of his career, he's not the kind of guy who you necessarily should be relying on to do that kind of stuff and create and stuff like that. Yeah. Drew had those same moments on the Bucks and Celtics. I mean, dude, come on. He won titles with both of those teams. I mean, you can argue about certain games where he made a mistake. I mean, you can even argue that was one of the dumbest plays potentially in the history of the NBA to throw the lob to Giannis. They end up getting an and one on that and winning the series. But like, he could have just stopped and gotten fouled and or run out more clock. So yeah, I mean, like, I get it, but come on. I mean, they won titles. He won titles with two different teams as a main part of those teams. Like, what are we doing here? And yeah, I mean, he makes mistakes, so. Hey, what's up, JP World? How you doing? What's everyone's prediction on Blazers wins if they keep the roster right now? I'm saying 48 wins. Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. A little bit depends on, injury luck, and a little bit depends on how Dame looks coming off Achilles tear. If he's really good, I could see them being a little better than that. If he's missing a lot of time and not able to play heavy minutes, then maybe 45 wins. But yeah, I think 48 is a good prediction if you just had to guess right now without any moves happening. Adam says hopefully they don't go like 20 games without a point guard. Yeah, that was tough. I don't think anyone thinks Dame's going to be 2016 Dame. Come on, Gregory. I mean, people are hopeful that he looks good and looks similar to before he went down with the Achilles injury, and that he'll have a couple decent years left in the tank, but no one's thinking he's going to be averaging 32 points per game and lighting the world on fire. I mean, there's a couple of people but like, you should listen to them. Yeah, I have no doubt Dame thinks he'll be back to being 2016 Dame. Yeah, he's probably thinks that, but yeah, I mean, he looks really good in the workouts. I do find it kind of funny that there was a time one off season where Dame was like, I'm not the type of guy that'll just post a bunch of off-season workouts like these other people do, and now he's doing nothing but posting off-season workouts. It's kind of funny, but man, if he can come back and be just like 70% of what he was, that's gonna be pretty good for us next year. And yeah, Anthony was at his house practicing the other day. I'm sure that pissed off a lot of Blazer fans because Anthony gets so much hate from some of you guys. All right. Rich is on record predicting 32 points per game on 45, 41, 90 splits. Nice. If Dame averages that next year, we're never seeing Shady again in a chat. What's up, Eric? All right. Well, it seems like nothing's gonna happen. Thanks. It's Darius Miles. Wore the Telfer one yesterday. Had to bust out the Miles one tonight. See, why would you be crying that the Blazers would be doing well? That a player on your favorite team was doing well. Elias says in the stream so news will break. Yeah. That's how it works. Yeah, so obviously if there's some big trades again, I'll go live. But next stream for sure will be on Tuesday. If not sooner, we have the press conference tomorrow. Obviously, if there's some... I'm the most interesting part of tomorrow's press conference will be, do all these media clowns who have been doing nothing but trashing Tom Dundon, are they going to do that in person tomorrow? Like, ask these stupid, cheap questions? I'm like really excited to see if they have the balls to do that in person or not. And so we'll see. That's going to be more so than the answers to the questions. I think what questions will be asked is going to be the best part about that press conference. And I don't know if Dundon's going to be there. They said Cronin's going to talk tomorrow, so we'll hear that as well. Yeah, so got to hear from both Cronin and the man himself, Micah Nora, and we'll see. I have a feeling he's going to be asked. I mean, it's obvious he's going to be asked at some point about his contract, and I'm sure he'll be professional about it. So, why did you take this contract and screw over every coach ever and let Tom Dundon win? We're supposed to hate Tom Dundon and not let him get anything. So yeah, it'll be fun. If Rich isn't able to, I would love to do. He does some great where he just kind of like listens to the press conference and then reacts to it. So I might try my hand at one of those type of videos with his help. But yeah, if anything interesting comes to that, definitely have a video or a show about that. And then yeah, obviously if there's a trade or any big move happens, and then we're into free agency next week, and I mean at some point the Blazers have to do something, right? Hopefully use the MLE or something. So still have lots of content for you. We'll have shows all summer long going into next season, and yeah, just gonna have some fun. Been really cool for all of you hanging out with me the last couple days, or if you just for part of one or the other, thank you so much for doing so. And I'm gonna end the stream so we can get some news that'll be like, why did I just end the stream? And then yeah, get some dinner. But thank you so much everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, leave a like on my way out. It really helps us here trying to grow the channel. And appreciate y'all. Have a good night. And thanks for joining me for the Rip City Retro NBA Draft 2026 coverage. Fist bump for everyone on the way out. And have a good night. Thank you.